Ever thought about creating your own touch panel with your own overlay, but you didn't have the ability to create the viewport or add the buttons on top of it, but you know that you can get the image yourself? Stick around for this video because I'm going to show you how to do that with Hangar Control. This will work for both Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane 11 or 12, DCS World, and any other sim that can be supported currently with Hangar Control. So stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Alright, so first up, I'm always going to start with the basics. Hangar Control comes with a 5-day free trial. If you guys are interested in giving this a shot, simply go to overkillsimulations.com. Create your account first. That is a must, whether you are wanting the trial or whether you're wanting just to purchase the software outright. Once you've created your account, go to the account page, and at that point, you can both download or purchase the software. So that takes care of that. Now, let's talk about some other caveats here. The other caveats here is that if you want to use this particular feature, your touchscreen or secondary display, whatever it may be that you're wanting to put this panel on, must be physically connected to your PC. It cannot be a Wi-Fi device because Wi-Fi devices require a browser, and the browser is always going to have a background, where the local panel that I'm going to show you guys can be created with a transparent opening. Okay, so it allows us to create our own custom windows and things like that. So it's really, really cool for that. Finally, leading into the next piece, if you haven't looked into touchscreens yet, I highly recommend it for simulation. It can really, really open up your compatibility, your different experiences, the different configurations you can make, and they have gotten so much cheaper than what they used to be. You can pick up anywhere from a 7 to a 10-inch touchscreen nowadays. Some of them are up to 15 inches, and they come with these like cool little notebook things where you can fold them up and put them away like on your bookcase when you're not using them. And then you have some of the ones that you can like create your own bezels for and things like that are all the way down to like $50 and $60 depending on where you're going. Keep in mind, for this kind of thing, you don't need to go crazy expensive. Okay, so I really am a huge advocate of touch panels. That's why I put so much effort into the touch panel feature in Hangar Control, and there's still so much more coming to it. If you haven't seen my other videos on the touch panel for Hangar Control, I highly recommend clicking on my channel, then click on videos, then check out the last 5 or 6 of them where they've all been around the touch panel pretty much. It is extremely powerful now and can do far, far more. Especially for Microsoft Flight Simulator users, you want to be using something called Glass Out from Flying Art Design with it. The two together, they were meant to be best friends, and they work really, really nicely. Okay, so there's that out of the way. So, now getting into the next piece. When you find your image, which by the way, an image is not required for this, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how to do it without an image as well if you just want to create your own bezel. But if you do create your own image, what you're going to want to make sure that you do is you use something like Photoshop, or GIMP is free. There's a couple other photo editors. Any editor where you can cut out the viewport, right? You need that viewport to be transparent. I find PNG format is the best way to go. You could use SVG and things like that, but chances are if you're making one like that, you probably already know that. So you're going to want to make sure it's a PNG file type if you want it to be truly transparent. Okay, but let's get into how this all works now. So you guys can see here, we're using DCS World just as our example, but again, this process is going to be the same no matter what. So we're going to go start service, make sure our service is running. Wait for that. There we go. Good. Go to our touch panel. All right. so let me delete some things. This is all from my testing. Am I on the wrong layer? I think I am. Yep, I was. Okay, let me just delete that layer. We don't need it for right now. And we're going to take this gauge. And the first thing that we're going to do to sort of, I guess, make this work the best. Let me actually get that out of the way. Let's zoom down a little bit. Let's see, I'm in DCS. I'm not in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And what is it? Slash? Nope. There we go. I think that's right. Right? That'll be close enough. Okay, so now that we're in a decent spot, let's come back down here. Okay, so back to our gauge. And what we're going to do is we're going to double click it. We're going to change the gauge type. So you can either do it from here. Oh, nope, you can't do it from here. I'm sorry. Delete that. We're going to add, here we go, transparent zone. So just right click, add transparent zone. Now, what you're going to do is you can use these to adjust your position. Now you're saying, Mike, I can't see anything. That's totally cool. We're going to open our window. Again, this is required. You have to use a local window for this thing to even work. But when we do that, we are then presented with this. So you can use your sliders here to fine tune it, your pinpoints to even fine tune it further, or the handlebars. So I can't show you both at the same time. Well, here, let me see if I can. Oops, actually hit my stop recording button. So you guys can see what's going on here. So then as we adjust this, we can start getting a better idea of how we want things to be. We can move that up. And if you use the sliders on the side, if you use these, you'll get your view almost 1-to-1, right? So with the handlebars, you'll have to wait till you let go before the input is actually recognized. So what we actually need to do here is we're going to move this, I think right about there. That'll work. Take this guy, move it up, using our sliders here. There's that. Using our position. Hitting those point hits. Now we're going to extend the height a little bit further. The height extends from the bottom. That's close enough, right? So now you've got your view. So then what you can do is it's totally up to you on how you want to do this next part. So we can either we can take this panel, and by the way, you can still size this guy out too, right? So the window will actually size with this. So if you wanted to do things like that, and the reason why we would do that is it might open up window here. Okay, so it gives you a bit more room to play with. Ooh, almost. Lift that up just a hair. Let's get those sides in. We're going to go about double that distance because now we need to move it over, right? You guys can tell I've been doing this for a minute. And so the screen will expand to the right, and it expands going down on the vertical. Okay, so there we go. So now if you wanted to just do simple buttons, it's really up to you on how far you wanted to go. So what I recommend doing is adding another layer. I would always add another layer just so that way you don't ever have to worry about playing with this again, right? Make sure that you're selected to your layer. We can add a button. And again, that will show. So you could position it how you wish. All right, that's probably a bit big for this example, but you guys will get the idea here in a second. So then we're going to open this up. Make sure you guys can see everything. I am going to move it so that way the commands are up at the top versus the customization. I'm one of those people, and the reason why that came up, I know a lot of people are like, that makes more sense. Why wouldn't you have the command up top? I like to do my designing first and then program. So just sort of the way my brain worked. But we're going to go to DCS command. Going to browse, find our F-18C in this case, and I think it's what DDI is what they're actually under, aren't they? DDI push button 1, sure. Okay, we're gonna hit save. I'm gonna bring that up there, and to be completely honest with you, I don't remember what push button. Let's see, push button 1's gonna be down here. I don't even know if there's a command there, but I guess we're gonna find out in a minute. No, let's go to the menu first. There we go. That one will work. Had to make sure we were at a menu. You guys have obviously got the point of the transparency. Click the button. Boom! Right? So hopefully you guys are seeing what you can do here. We could even have expanded this all the way around somewhere. Now, as far as exporting the windows real quick from DCS World, I have a really cool tool that comes with Hangar Control called the DCS Export Manager. Okay, you can find that in the tools section on the main page of Hangar Control, and it will walk you through how to actually export these screens out based on the aircraft to your various touchscreens, monitors, etc. Now, not all aircraft are supported yet, but I've got most of the big ones. There's still definitely more to do. There's also a lot of ways that you guys can look on the DCS forums if there's an aircraft that I don't support yet automatically, that will walk you through that process as well. Okay, so we know how to create the transparency zone. We know how to create a button now. And by the way, with these buttons, oops, I'm clicking on the wrong screen, idiot. You also have a couple of different options. You know, you can come down here and you can remove the background. So if you don't want a background there at all, okay, notice that now it just says button. So you could change this to push button 1 or whatever. Or if you were just going to have this full overlay that I'm about to show you, you may not want anything there at all. And that's what I'm going to show you next. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to now delete this button. Okay, we know that this is, for the most part, correct. We're still on layer 2. And what we're going to do on layer 2 is add an image. So you guys can see that I've already created a Hornet MFD PNG. I literally took a screenshot out of this sim, cut everything else out in Photoshop, took the center out, and then saved it as a PNG. Really wasn't tough to do. A little bit of time, but not too bad. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back here and check out what we got. So for this case, we actually want to make our MFD a bit bigger, right? Where's my positioning? Nope, that's height. There we go. And then we're going to move this over. So it struggles a little bit. There we go. Want to make sure we catch everything in. Now notice that like their menu button is off a little bit. So let's bring the X position to the left a little bit. And by the way, this is actually left over from the PNG. Apparently I didn't erase all the white. So this is not like the panel doing this. This is literally the picture. So it's actually supposed to be there, but not. Okay, so next what we're going to do is let's drag this guy up. And then you can use left control and your mouse wheel and you'll zoom that up. And now I'm going to go back to layer 2, but I'm going to add yet another layer. That way I can have all of my buttons on one layer. And so this time I'm going to show you guys how I would set this up. We're going to do a couple of them pretty rapidly, and you guys can see how cool this can be. And again, I'm using DCS as the example. This will work for anything. Okay, literally anything. I mean, even any game or sim that can take keyboard commands, even if Hangar Control doesn't officially support it. If it takes keyboard commands, it'll work as long as that window's targeted. Anyway, here we go. So let's add button. Now this is where things get a little dicey because we're going to make this pretty small, but not too small. So now we're going to open this up, and this is where we're going to get rid of everything. So we don't want a button or a label, excuse me. We don't want any kind of background. Okay. Transparent border color. Yep. Just like that. And then now single action, go back to our DCS command, go to browse. Once again, our Hornet and DDI. And in this case, we're starting at the top. So we want push button 5, and we're just going to hit OK. And here's where this is going to get a lot faster. So there it is. And if we go back to our panel, nothing, right? So the easiest way to do this, I'm going to make this a little smaller. Sure, it's right over that button, maybe off the screen just a little bit. And now we can right click, duplicate. Bring this one down here. And then what are we going to do? Just simply change that number to button 4. Save. Duplicate. And you guys will obviously probably take more time than I am right now. I'm doing this as an example. This is button 3. Two. 1. Save it. Move it out of your way. And let's actually add one more because the menu button's kind of critical, right? I mean, honestly, you could just keep on going, but let's do duplicate. At least grab this guy. And I'm going to extend the handlebars up a bit and in a bit because these are vertical. And this one's going to be, what would that be, 18? Just so we have that menu button. It's kind of critical. All right, so now we can come back to our touchscreen. Boop. Boop. And so you can create your own custom displays. I don't think I need to go through all of them to show you guys how it all works now. And you can do this with all kinds of stuff. We have the slider option, so you could, adjust your contrast by simply clicking on it. We have the target zones now. The target zones are where you can, and again, I highly suggest you guys go watch the previous videos on the touch panel. Check out the target zones. Check out the sliders video. You combine all of these together and you can have a fully functional cockpit with even just a single touchscreen. We also have the ability where you can swap pages, where you're able to cycle through your different panels if you want directly from a button here. Okay, we can simply, what am I looking for? What am I looking for? Anybody know? Because I clearly don't. So there's our slider, there's our images, add button. If we can come up here, I think it's down towards the bottom. Where are you? There we go. From the, nope, not the action state. There we go. Here. Previous panel, next panel, page navigations. If you have multiple pages, you can add pages to a single panel, right? So there's a whole bunch of navigation options. And again, what I like to do with the pages and the navigation buttons is I will make them transparent, remove all their labels, usually put them in the top left and right corners or bottom left and right, and then just tap, I know to tap those sections when I want to page forward or page back. I'll keep all of the labels and bordering off, that way all you see is the cool panel. So there's a ton you can do with this. There's so much you can do with this, and there's a bunch more refinement coming to the software. There's more features coming to the touch panel. The touch panels work with knobsters and any encoder on your device. You can set the target zone. You can create a target zone, and then in that target zone, basically you touch the target zone, it highlights it, and you can bind that target zone to any encoder you have, any encoder or button you have currently connected to your system. And when that encoder is that target zone is active, that encoder controls whatever command you have bound to it. When you deactivate that target zone, that encoder can still be bound to something else. Hangar Control will take priority over the target zone, but when that target zone is disabled, it will resume its original function. So you don't have to worry about unbinding something that you may already have. Like, it's slicker than crap. Slicker than crap, guys. I'm really tooting my own horn here. But anyway, folks, I hope you guys found this video useful. I hope it was exciting for you. I hope you're just excited to try Hangar Control as I am to build it. Make sure you guys join the Discord. So many of these features have come from you, the community. So much of Hangar Control across the board, layout, and all kinds of different things have come from you all. I really appreciate the love and support for both the channel, the software, and just me in general. And as always, folks, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.